A group of kids, stranded on a deserted island, embark on a path of savagery, doing unimaginable things. Will they be able to survive on the island? Let's find out. The movie starts with a plane carrying 24 young American cadets from a military school. Suddenly they encounter a mishap and crash landing near a deserted jungle island in the Pacific Ocean. As they drown, they miraculously find a lifeboat that leads them to an uninhabited deserted island. Accompanying them is Captain Benson, the pilot of the plane and the only adult survivor, who wrestles with severe injuries and unconsciousness. At night, all the cadets are hungry and thirsty, but they can't find any water or food. One of the senior cadets, named Colonel Ralph, tells them to sleep and assures them they will figure it out in the morning. In the morning, a cadet named Simon finds a river and informs the others. Excitedly, all the cadets rush towards the river, quenching their thirst and exploring the island afterwards. Some of the cadets go to the mountains to explore the area, while others climb trees to gather fruits for food. Meanwhile, a chubby kid nicknamed Piggy finds a conch seashell and hands it over to Ralph. Then Ralph blows into the conch, attracting the attention of the other cadets. Gathering around, Ralph explains that they will use the conch as a means to assemble the group and introduces a rule that only the person holding the conch has the right to speak. After that, Ralph addresses the situation, stating that although they might be on an uninhabited island, there is still hope for them to find a way out. Meanwhile, one of the cadets mentions the presence of a pig, suggesting the possibility of other people on the island. The cadet named Piggy raises his hand to speak and the conch is passed to him. Expressing his concerns, Piggy wonders if they will ever be able to leave this place. Thus Ralph proposes setting up a steady signal, such as a fire, to be kept going at all times and suggests establishing some rules. One of the cadets named Jack agrees with Ralph's idea. Furthermore, a question arises about Jack being the leader due to his age, but the others argue that Ralph is the senior and the highest ranking cadet, leading to a vote in favor of Ralph becoming the leader. After this, Ralph assigns them their first task, to build a camp, and they all begin working together. While they work, Piggy advises everyone to take precautions until they are rescued. However, Jack opposes his thoughts and declares that they won't be rescued. Piggy disagrees and tells him to keep quiet, emphasizing the need to stay optimistic. In response, Jack insults Piggy, calling him shitbrain, and the others join in making fun of him. Later, Ralph tries to console Piggy, assuring him that everything will be alright. In the next scene, a group of cadets marches towards the mountaintop, carrying firewood to start a fire. They use Piggy's glasses to ignite the fire, hoping to attract the attention of any passing aircraft. In the process, they unintentionally burn a grass field. As the sun sets, the fire gradually slows down and the cadets take turns keeping watch over the fire, ensuring it doesn't die out. As the sun sets, the cadets gather around the campfire near the beach. Jack starts sharing a scary story about a monster, and it's clear that his storytelling skills are truly terrifying. The next day, Ralph and Jack stroll along the beach while discussing the current situation. They end up engaging in a friendly fight to lighten their moods. Later they explore the island to hunt for some food and suddenly a wild pig rushes past them, but Jack fails to capture him. Later during the night, Simon saw a dream in which Captain Benson was telling the cadets that they had been rescued. "Well, Simons, your dreams are starting to look more like survival documentaries." When morning arrives, Ralph notices that a few cadets are goofing off instead of doing their work. To restore order, he blows the conch and gathers all the cadets, urging them to maintain discipline. Meanwhile, one of the cadets announces that his pocket knife has been stolen, and others claim that their belongings are also disappearing. Suggestions of harsh punishments for the thieves arise, but the conversation ends inconclusively, with some participants resorting to foul language. Later, Ralph and some cadets go out for spearfishing, when suddenly, Jack and his friends start throwing stones at them. However, Ralph quickly intervenes and tells them to stop. On the other hand, Jack becomes increasingly enthusiastic about hunting wild pigs, and other cadets express their desire to join him. As a result, they sharpen their spears and collaborate on devising a strategy for the pig hunt. Suddenly, they spot movement in the woods and hastily rush towards it, anticipating a pig. However, they are taken aback to discover that it is Captain Benson, who appears to be delusional and behaving erratically due to his condition. The cadets quickly bring him back to the beach, and Jack suggests getting rid of him. However, Ralph interrupts, stating that they will continue to care for Captain Benson until he regains consciousness. In the middle of the night, while the cadets are sound asleep, Captain Benson abruptly wakes up and rushes deep into the island. The next morning, the cadets discover that Captain Benson is missing. They find only his clothes on the rocky coast, making them believe that he might be dead. Well, maybe Captain Benson just wanted to go skinny dipping with the island's friendly dolphins. However, Simon refuses to accept this grim possibility. Ralph tries to console Simon by explaining that Captain Benson's erratic behavior could have put him in danger and that he may have passed away by now. The scene cuts to Jack and his group as they persist in their pig hunting. Suddenly, the pigs emerge from the bushes, and one of the cadets named Roger tries to catch it but ends up falling and hurting his head. Roger claims that he managed to stab the pig with his knife. In celebration of Roger's supposed success, Jack marks his face with pig's blood as a sign of honor. On the following day, Ralph and some of the other cadets notice a helicopter flying above the island. Excitedly, they all shout. Meanwhile, Ralph decides to follow the helicopter and quickly makes his way up the mountain to check on the signal fire. However, upon reaching the top, he realizes that the fire has gone out. Despite his frantic calls, the helicopter fails to spot him. Returning to the camp, Ralph finds Jack and his friends with their faces painted in blood and dirt, proudly showing off a pig they hunted. Ralph gets angry and blames them for neglecting their duty to keep watch over the fire. Jack counters, saying they were busy hunting and are tired of following Ralph's rules, and their argument escalates into a physical fight. In frustration, Jack decides to form his gang called the Hunters and invites others to join them for a good time. Ralph tries to convince everyone to work together, but Jack doesn't care and leaves with his followers. Moreover, he offers Ralph and his friends to join them later when they get hungry. During the night, a heavy storm arrives, and they all take cover in their shelter to stay safe. When the sun rises, they make sure everyone is okay and discover a tree with ripe bananas nearby. Ralph suggests that they go up the mountain to relight the fire. Meanwhile, Jack and his group go on a hunt, and one of the younger cadets named Larry finds a cave and goes inside. Suddenly, a man grabs Larry's legs, causing him to scream and defend himself by stabbing the man with his spear before quickly running out of the cave. Later, Larry tells Jack and the others that a monster attacked him inside the cave. Intrigued yet scared, Jack and his gang decide to investigate. However, upon hearing a growl, they immediately run away in fear. After a while, Jack and Roger climb the mountain to gather some fire and warn Ralph's group about the monster living in the cave. Filled with fear, Ralph's cadets rush to inform him about the situation. As they reach the camp, members of Jack's gang intercept them and demand the knife. Piggy refuses, explaining that the knife belongs to the entire camp. Meanwhile, Ralph remains skeptical about the existence of the monster, but two more cadets join Jack's gang and walk away with them. That night, while Ralph and the other cadets are asleep, Jack and his gang attack their shelter and steal the knife from them. Meanwhile, Piggy discovers that his glasses are broken during the chaos and starts crying. As morning arrives, Simon goes to Jack's camp to ask about the location of the cave. At the same time, Jack and some of his followers return to the cave and place pig heads on a stick as an offering to the supposed monster, while Simon silently watches them from the bushes. Afterward, Jack and his gang arrive at Ralph's camp and invite them to a feast they're having that night. During the feast, Ralph notices that two cadets named Sam and Eric have joined Jack's gang, leaving Ralph and Piggy feeling isolated. Then Jack offers some meat to Piggy and Ralph but insists they join his group if they want to eat more. However, Ralph states that he came to talk with them instead of eating meat. This makes Jack angry, and he pushes them away, telling them to leave. Then Jack and his gang perform a ritualistic dance around the fire. Meanwhile, Simon enters the cave with a light and discovers the lifeless body of Captain Benson. Simon realizes that the captain was mistaken for a monster. He hurriedly rushes to the beach where the feast is taking place. At the same time, Jack and his gang are in a frenzy from their ritual, and when they see Simon approaching with his light, they mistake him for the monster due to the darkness. In their fear and confusion, they fatally stab Simon with their spears. It takes them a while to realize that it was not a monster they killed, but an innocent Simon. The next morning, Ralph is sobbing and blaming himself for not saving Simon. Piggy comforts him, saying it was an awful accident, and suggests they build a raft to leave the island. Meanwhile, Jack punishes one of his hunters for letting the fire go out and warns everyone to stay alert, as he believes that monsters could attack them at any moment. As night falls, Piggy and Ralph are resting in their camp when suddenly Jack and his gang attack them, demanding Piggy's glasses. Finally, they forcefully take Piggy's glasses and leave. When morning comes, Piggy is in tears and suggests to Ralph that they should join Jack's camp, as survival is becoming increasingly difficult for them. Together, they head towards Jack's camp, bringing the conch with them, and call for everyone to gather for an assembly. However, Jack and his gang no longer follow Ralph's rules. Eventually, Ralph asks Jack to return Piggy's glasses, but Jack defiantly refuses, stating that he will do as he pleases. Angered, Jack aggressively attacks Ralph with his spear, and a brutal fight ensues. Jack's gang initially cheers for him, But their enthusiasm wanes after Piggy blows the conch and appeals to them not to fight like children if they want to survive on the island. While Piggy is speaking, Roger pushes a large rock from the top of the cliff, which strikes Piggy's head, instantly killing him. The shocking turn of events leaves everyone stunned. With pain in his eyes, Ralph tells Jack that he will pay for what he has done. However, the hunters start throwing stones at Ralph, forcing him to flee. On the following night, while Sam and Eric are on fire watch duty, Ralph secretly meets with them and urges them to call out Jack before they become his slaves, but Sam and Eric refuse to help Ralph and warn him that the hunters are planning to kill him. When sun rises, Ralph wakes up to the smell of smoke deliberately set by Jack and his gang to lure him out. Realizing his life is in danger, Ralph runs for his life as Jack and his followers chase after him. He finds temporary shelter under a tree, where Sam and Eric spot him but lie to protect him in front of Jack. However, Roger eventually spots Ralph and the pursuit continues. Then Ralph desperately runs towards the sea. Finally, Ralph collapses on the beach, exhausted. To his astonishment, he encounters a United States Marine Corps officer and other Marines who have landed on the island after seeing the smoke. Meanwhile, Jack and his hunters watch in stunned silence and begin to question their savage actions while Ralph breaks down in tears. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next video.